Okay, here we go. I put the saddle on him very gently, and I put the cinch down again very gently, and adjust it on the off side so it fits his girth. Then I'm going to cinch it up again very gently. Now it's very important that you have the saddle tight enough to hold the saddle on, but loose enough so it doesn't scare the horse. That's a little bit of a judgment on the person that's doing this. What I just saw is it's not quite adjusted correctly, so I went back to the other side. Now, here it comes, and this is real time. I start this colt and another colt in about an hour's time, so that what you're going to see on this colt's about 30 minutes, and that's what is normally the way it has been for me with other horses. Now you notice that horse is a little bit nervous because it's girthed up on him. Can you avoid this by requisites with this? Yes, you can. In other words, you could get him more used to it with a rope or whatever, but it usually works pretty good. Just put the saddle on him. Now, the first thing I'm going to be doing after I get the saddle on him is get him to move by lunging him. Now, and I do say here that if the horse is going to have an adverse reaction, it'll be when I lunge him. You see that horse is having a little bit of a problem there, so I put a lunge line on him. And what I'll do before is I'm going to start him in this hackamore, this Bosal hackamore, made out of a hard twist rope, which I explained there. You can make your own. Since that time, I actually have a hackamore halter made out of a hard twist rope that I've been using and have used that for years, but you could make one of those yourself, I say, but there's a whole thing about that as well that I would like to go into. But after this, I'm just assuming that we'll talk about that later. So I'm changing the halter to this hackamore. It's got a hard twist rope noseband on it, which gives a little bit of a bite if I need to correct him, which I will do if he has a problem. Now, you probably do this with a rope halter. I've never done it with a rope halter, but I think this rope noseband is going to work a little better. It's soft, but it's aggressive if you need the aggression. See, I'm adjusting it there. Now, I put the lunge line on him. And what I'm saying right here is, if he's going to have a problem, this will be it, the place. And if he has a problem, which the horse doesn't, but if he does, I would correct him. The way I would do that is I would pull him into me if he starts to buck or have a problem. But this colt doesn't. But I've had others that have, and that's the reason I say that. Now, I entitled this video First Day, First Ride, but it's only that. Now, here we go. I'll explain more about that in a minute. So I'm just going to let him go. Notice I have the reins tied up to the saddle horn. Now, the horse is wanting to come to me for security. That's just really normal. But I'm going to push him away, just tap him on the hindquarters, and get him going in a circle there. Now, I'm going to explain, and I did explain here, but I'm going to explain now that it's about the sides. There's two horses that you're working with here, the left horse, the right horse. I think most of us know that by now. But I'm going to desensitize both of those, starting with the one that's easiest, which would be the left side. But the key to this whole program is desensitizing the other side, which is the right side. Now, see, I changed there, and I'm not doing a very good job of lunging him, but it doesn't really matter. He's moving. That's the main thing. He's moving. Okay? And now I'm just adjusting the saddle a little tighter. Now he's used to it. Theoretically, he'll be okay with this. If he's not, then I'll fix it. How do I fix it? I'll correct him with the rope noseband that I have on my lunge line. Now the next thing I'm doing right here, I took the lunge line off, and I'm tying his head around to the left. And it's a little bit of a struggle, as you see, but then I let him go. I don't tie it too tight, but it just turns his head that direction. Now what I'm wanting him to do is follow that direction. So I take and with the whip, first of all, let him get used to it. That's what's happening right here. You don't see it on the film, but he's just having some problems. And I'm just letting him find his own peaceful spot. And here he just leave him alone. It's a little bit stressful for him, which is normal. Don't have that head tied too tight, and don't do this with a snaffle bit in the beginning. That's too much. Do it with a Boswell hackamore, and I suggest a light hackamore like what I have on this colt. Now, if you'll notice, I'm going the opposite direction that he's going. I'm wanting him to move, just encouraging some movement. That's it. Around and around and around. What this is doing is it's building in the control. The control will be turning his head to the right or the left if there's a problem, or if I want him to stop. Now we know that as a one-rein stop. One-rein stops are really going to help you here. Notice I just want him to move, and I just flick it just a little bit until he moves. That's it. And here he just keeps going. And if he stops, now notice what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask him to move once he stops. Right now I'm just talking because I wanted to explain some things which I don't really remember what that is, but it's basically what I'm saying to you. All right, there he's moving. Again, no hurry, just progress. And as notice he's settled down now, he says, okay, the way I get away from this is to move. So that's what I'm doing. And that's exactly what we want. Because when I get on his back, that's what I'm going to want him to do, is to move in the direction that I give him. And I'm building that direction in right now. Now in just a moment, I'm going to switch sides. How long you keep this, really hard to say. There I go now. I'm just going to switch to the right side. And he may or may not have the same issues on the right side as he has the left side, but just don't tighten it up too much. Now, he's really happy to be standing still right now, because so rather than moving around like he did before, he says, you know what, this is a pretty good deal here. And I'm trying to offer him the best deal I can. And the objective here is to make my idea his idea. Make the right thing easy, the wrong thing difficult. We've heard this before, right? Now, again, I just backed off. He learned from the other side a little bit, so he's not really fighting this one as much. And I can go into when you start him with the snaffle bit and how to progress, but this is exactly what the title says. First day first ride. Now there he's trying to resist because he says, listen, I got relief by turning my head the other way. Why do I have a problem here? Well, then he figures it out. Well, okay, I'll do this. I'll leave my head on this side. And then in a moment, I'm going to ask him to move. Now, right there, I moved, so he followed me. So that was a cue that he could go that direction. Now I'm going to ask him to be more on his own. Follow what's asked of you. Now there he had a problem, so just back off and leave him alone. Keep it going. Keep it going. And I'm doing exactly the same thing as I did on the left side, but of course building control on this right side, because I'm going to want to use that control to, one, give him guidance, two, to give him peace. Because, you see, life is about production. Horses can be just pets. The horses I've had learn to be, earn their own living. And that's what I'm asking him to do here. Just earn your own living. So as he struggles, you just don't push it. Back off. And that's a big principle here as we go through this. When they have a problem, I need to back off. If you can take the wildest horse in the world, and they're alone, they're not out there bucking, unless they get some reason to buck, or reason to fight, or reason to object. Well, we humans become a reason to them. And this is my feeling, desire, belief, is that when they do things wrong, it's our fault, not theirs. Now what I just did right there is I just tightened it up just a little bit more and then backed off. Because he wasn't actually giving to it the way I felt like he should. And now he's starting to go a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. Again, all this colt has known is run in the pasture, eat what he's given, which is grass and hay and all the good stuff, and being around humans. I mean, a little bit. He wasn't wild, but this will work on wild horses. The reason I know that is because I've done many of them, hundreds of them. And I've got a lot of stories with that, but right now let's focus on what's going on here. Again, I'm trying to explain as I go through this. And the voice and the sound did not come off good here, but I wanted to voice over it anyway. and I mean, if you'll notice, I'm doing a little more on this right side, because that is the side where he will have a problem. Again, notice I don't have a back cinch on it. I don't have a rope on the saddle. And if you notice on my feet, I don't wear spurs. There's no reason for those things. In fact, those things create problems. Now we're about not quite 15 minutes into this. It'll probably conclude in the next 15 minutes, but I'm going to be on his back and riding him. And I'm going to explain what I'm doing as I'm riding him, why I'm doing it. This is the big part that I see people talk about, but very few people do. Okay. So right there, we're at about a little over 14 minutes into the very beginning, from the very beginning. And I'm just letting him follow his head as I'm trying to explain whatever I'm trying to explain there. Now, you notice I don't do a lot of groundwork. Is that wrong? No, that's not wrong. But is it needed? In most cases, it's not. When would it be needed? If the horse really, really, really is afraid. Then you can do your groundwork. But most of them aren't. A Mustang, a wild horse, yeah, groundwork you need to do. But right here, this is about the extent of the groundwork I do on most colts, because most colts react similar to this one. I'm not sure when I'm going to be riding him, but, well, and there's just these next few steps about getting on his back is the trick to this technique. The trick. And the safety of it. Okay, now we're about a little over 15 minutes into it. Now, when I get on his back, this is where I'm at right now. Now, this is the part you want to watch really carefully, because if we take it in small increments, small steps. The next step I'm going to do is put a little bit of weight on his back, but not up for where I'm standing up. First of all, I turned his head so he could see me a little bit. Then I'm going to pull down on the saddle horn and lift clear up off my feet. Now notice the person filming will film my feet. See, I've got all my weight on him. So now he feels that. That's a step. Well, if he has a problem, then I back off. This is another big trick to this. If there's a problem, back off. Get out of there. Don't let him settle down and then go back to it. Do the same thing on the right side. Again, he moves, so I back off. I'm going to do it again. So I don't start on that side if he moves until he stands still and I can lift my feet up. Then back off. I guess I just can't stress that enough as you're hearing me. So if you'll notice, I do more on this than I did on the other side. Now, I'm really going to the other side to straighten the saddle up. Well, no, I'm not. I'm getting on him. Now, as I get on, it's just that. Do not, that's it. That's it. Just get up. That's it. Then get right back down. Now, the other side is the side he's going to have some problems with, or could have some problems with. I don't think he does. Well, in fact, I know he doesn't really have a lot. But again, this is the biggest thing. People talk about this, but very few of them do it. Just stand up on that side. I'm not going to get on. I'm just going to stand up on that side. Now, see me waving my leg out there? That's to get him used to swinging my leg over the saddle, because I'm going to be doing that here in just a moment. But I want to see if he's okay with that, and if he's not, I'll do it until he is. Again, when he moves, I back off. Now, do I do it all the time? Usually so, sometimes probably not. Now get back on the other side. And when now that time, see, he was a lot better, meaning he didn't move. Now we're about 19 minutes into this. I tighten the saddle up, make sure it's as secure as I can have it, because the next thing I'm going to be doing is getting on his back. And firmness is, I don't want to cut him in half, but firmness is a good thing. Looseness is never a good thing. So here we go. Now, I just sit there for a minute, because he's never had anybody on him. But he's had all the preliminaries, the prerequisites, to know that. Now notice I got right back off, but on the off side or the right side. Then I'm going to get back on him again. And in a moment, I'm going to ask him to move. Okay, now I turn him to the side. He doesn't know anything about my feet, kicking him, that sort of thing, so I don't do it. But he moved on his own, so I take it. And then I reward him. I tell him, good job. Make the right thing easy, the wrong thing difficult. Right now, I'm making the right thing easy. Now he turned his head the other way, and I just took it. I take what he's given to me. Let him get used to that. Now, watch what I do to get him to move this way. Actually, he moved on his own. What I was going to say is, I may tap him on with the reins there to get him to move, but he moved on his own, so I take it. I'm going to go the other way. Now again, he's pretty calm, which is very common by now. They're pretty calm. Now, in using the reins, which, see, I built in the control by turning his head to the side and having him turn around, following it. Now, I'm going to go ahead with the second horse as long as this video will let me. But I may run out of room on my phone here to do this. That's what I'm doing, is on my phone.